computer. Cool. I suppose it doesn't really matter if you can see the top. Alrighty, so got the roll up with the roll up bar. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I mean, this one you do about 1 trillion times in your training, so I'm sure we don't need to go over it too much, but it's just about having that C-curve shape, like you do with your roll up on the mat. So you're going to be in your C-curve, shoulder over hips, rounded through your low back, and then you're going to breathe out to roll it down. Inhale, tuck the chin to the throat, and then exhale, pressing each vertebra into the mat as you roll up. What you'll see movement fault-wise, people's shoulders going up, or just if they're a bit stiff in their low back, they might not be able to get that sense of pushing the back into the table because they're going to be too stiff through here or too tight through their hip flexors. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll put a roller just under their knees, and then that makes it a little bit easier to roll up and roll down if they've got that kyphotic lordotic posture. Yeah. Now with the mini roll-ups, I know you guys do it with the top-loaded bar, but what I tend to do is, like when people are first doing it, I'll teach them it with the roll-up bar because it's easier to stabilize the shoulders here. So it's breath out to go up, breath in to come down. And you're just going up as far as you can without the tailbone kind of tucking more. You got to keep neutral through your tailbone, through your pelvis. Just deepening through the abs. And then you got the oblique version. It's good to have a ball between the knees too, just to help stabilize the pelvis. And then the other oblique version. So we'll come in, we'll do the mini roll-ups. I'm just wondering if I should bring this a little closer. Wouldn't be hard to do. Just make it a little bit more, fill the frame a bit more. Power cord can't. That's the limit of the power cord. Okay. But maybe that's going to be better. It's not too. All right, so mini roll-ups. 2 springs on. I used to do it on one, but then Rael said that was me. So we're opposite. So your head's going to be on the actual table, not on the pillow. And it's kind of like bar above your sternum here. So with the setup. And so you're going to exhale, curl up to where the tips of the shoulder blades are on the table. Breathe in there, and then you're going to breathe out to do a little pulse up. Inhale down. What you're watching for is if the shoulders are shrugging up. So you're always kind of cueing armpits sliding down towards the hips to get the lats on, to get the lower traps on. Breathing out to roll. Watching for that tucking of the pelvis. You don't want an extra tuck happening. You want to have the tailbone or the pelvis relaxed down. And there's the abdominals just curling the trunk up as much as they can. So it's just about, I say to people, you come up 2 vertebrae. Inhale, you go back down 2 vertebrae, just to the tips of the shoulder blades there. Exhale up, inhale down. When people are coming up, they often will push their arms that way to help them up. So that's just all arms. I'm just doing that with my arms. So we want to encourage people not to do that and to use their abs to create deep flexion. If they're using their arms, it'll tighten their back muscles. So you can actually, usually you can palpate, you can feel in there. If their arms are pushing, their back muscles will be switching on. And so it's meant to be Abs, 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 lots of abs. And then not hip flexors, so you're trying to relax the hip flexors, a little bit of pressure into the soles of the feet, a little bit of a ball to squeeze can sometimes help take the work out of the hip flexors. So that's the mini roll up, and then obliques, so you turn the hands, one hand the other way, bring the other hand behind the head, you're going to rotate towards the direction of the hand that's behind your head. So if I've got my right hand behind my head, I'm rotating towards the right, and I'm going to exhale. So you're going to come, you find your rotation, and then you go straight up into flexion. Inhale. It's not twisting more. So you find your twist, and then you flex. And what people often do is they try to bring this arm up to help them lift up. So you're trying to get them to maintain the rotation and just lift on that, flex into that, in that rotated position. On the flexion. And you'll feel it on the left side if you're rotated to the right. And then you'll feel it on the, so if you're rotating to the left, you'll feel it more on the right side. Shoulders stable, so armpit drawing down towards the hip. Exhale, find your rotation, and then you're lifting up to vertebra. Flex. Keep the elbow wide. Watch that the knees aren't shifting. Sometimes it can help people to have a ball in between their knees, help them stabilize their pelvis. Hard side for me to not want to derotate. So that's it for 2 springs bottom loaded. We'll take one of those springs off when we do the top loaded roller. So you'll be, yeah, so with the top loaded roll up, your head is on the pillow, your head's through, it's not on the table. And then the bar will be above your belly button for the setup, or, you know, top of the pelvis kind of area. Inhale, you're going to tuck the chin into the throat. Exhale, you're going to roll up, one vertebra at a time. Inhale to bend and straighten. And then exhale, you roll it down. Tilt the chin in. So you start that articulation into flexion right at the very top, rolling all the way up. Little bend straighten. Here, just watch that the ribs aren't flaring. And then tilting the tailbone back under, roll it down. So you're going to see the same movement fault as you would with the roll up with the bar. It's just this pushing up. It's common for people to kind of, you know, do this kind of hinging action or flaring of the ribs where they lose their connection through their upper abs. And straighten. And I guess here with the overhead press is the other place you'll see dysfunction in the shoulder. And so what helps, is if you think external rotation, so if you think of the humerus rolling out as you're pressing the bar up, and there's the back edge of the armpit coming around to the front, that helps to create space between the ear and the shoulder. Good. Then straighten, and then coming down. So then we adjust the position for the teaser, so your head will come onto the table. And I think with your guys' version, you just keep the legs at that same angle, eh? And you just inhale, you come up. Exhale, you're coming down. Obviously, we modify it for a lot of people, and we bring a ball under the feet, or I start in tabletop and let them extend out just for a couple, just to see if their hip flexors are cramping or if they have the strength. But your textbook version, you keep the legs at 45 degrees, you roll down on the out breath, roll up on the in breath. Same principles as with the roll up, so it's not letting the shoulders shrug or any of that stuff. Keep your connection, and obviously you're rolling up on the inhale, so that's more challenging. I'll just rig up the trapeze over here. We'll do the bottom lift with the trapeze. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna just get a view of my feet from one of the cameras, but sorry. Okay. So it's a three-parter, this one. And I always, if I forget what the breathing is, I always think there's a teaser in it. So the teaser is always going to be inhale up, exhale down. So that's the third part. So you can work it backwards from there. So the first part is a bottom lift, but because the teaser is in there and it's inhale on the way up, the bottom lift is also inhale on the way up. So you inhale to roll it up, exhale to roll it down. Then you do the arms. Inhale, push them over here. Exhale, bring them back. Inhale, coming up into your teaser. And then exhale, rolling it down. Oh, sorry, bottom lift. And exhale, now down through the spine. All the way till the tailbone goes down. Arms reach overhead. Coming back. And then inhale. And exhale. Breathing in. And out. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale. Exhale. So, yeah, obviously all those components can be taught separately as well, but when you bring them all together, you're looking for the same things. Spine articulation, shoulder stability, keeping the connection.
I guess it doesn't really...
And do the bottom lift with the trapeze. So I've got the trapeze here. And then that's about it with the trapeze and the roll-up bar. And then the other one would be the hanging. Can you guys still hear me enough?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Just in regards to the test out, it's arms and then bottom for us, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Arms, then bottom, then teaser.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the other way around? Sorry, I did bottom lift, arms, and teaser.
Yeah, that's all good. Arms, bottom, then teaser for us. But that's
the whole thing.
Oh, so when you come down from the teaser, you go straight into arms overhead, is it?
Yeah, and then bottom lift, and then down, and then teaser.
Okay. All righty. I wonder if it's changed since I did it, or if I've just always taught it wrong.
I guess it's all the parts anyway.
Yeah. All right. So, well, this one is similar. I think it's inhale, pause, exhale, roll down. I think it's breath. This one might be breath out to articulate up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exhale.
Inhale, pause. Here, just check the lats are sliding the shoulders down. And exhale to roll it down. Inhale, pause. Exhale to roll up. Breathe in, hold. And breathing out to roll it back down. And you can hold it up there as well and like pulse, do a few arm presses. So that's just encouraging a little bit of endurance through the back of the legs and the abdominals. And the other thing you can do with or without the roll-up bar is bring one foot down and do like a single leg kind of pelvic lift sort of thing, just to get a bit more glute work on that side. oftentimes people aren't strong enough to do, you know, the shoulder bridge prep, but having the foot in the sling allows them to keep like a neutral pelvis as they're lifting up, or a level pelvis, I should say. And so that can be quite a good place to introduce some single leg hip extensor work to strengthen up the glutes, especially if they've got like an, you know, an SIJ problem on one side, where they're having trouble stabilizing the pelvis to the point where they can't, you know, do shoulder bridge prep or any single leg bridging stuff is too much. Okay, so get rid of this, set it up for bottom loaded. I think I might just bring the camera to the other side as well so that it's a bit, so you get to see the alignment of my legs at this end. Okay, so yeah, when we're setting up for bottom loaded, just want to show you like the safety stuff a little bit. So it's going to be safety chain on first. I always give the safety chain a bit of a test as well. Like, so if it's going to snap, it snaps.
Now?
When I'm testing it, not when someone's doing something. So just give it a little, yeah, a little push, see if it's going to hold. Then you got the 2 red springs here. That's pretty much the right setting for most people, 2 bottom loaded for their leg work. Always make it less. The blue springs obviously are lighter than the red springs, so you could have 2 blue springs, or you could go 1 red spring if the 2 blue springs were too much. Okay, so bottom loaded. Now I think you guys do all the same positions as on the reformer in the same order. So you go heels, toes, V, heels, toes out wide. Yep. I tend to start in the little V on the toes just because it's less stretchy for my hamstrings and sciatic nerve, but that's okay. We can do your BASI order. When I do the start in the little V, I go toes, little V, then toes parallel, then heels parallel, toes out wide, heels out wide. That's just a different order. So it's going from least stretchy to most stretchy. So you want to make sure that you can get a position where your tailbone is flat. So you're in a good neutral position to start. If you're really tight in your hamstrings, it's going to be a bit tricky. So, but I'm at 90, but I'm on the heels. So when I go to the toes, that'll feel a bit easier. 90 degrees of hip flexion is what I mean. So yeah, inhale to bend, exhale to extend. And just getting that sense of reaching the sit bones away. You want to encourage people to kind of relax their hip flexors, crease into the hip socket, crease into the hip. They allow the spring to kind of, well, resist. If they resist the spring using their hamstrings and their glutes, they're going to be able to relax their hip flexors a bit better. So it's inhale to bend, exhale to extend. Watching that the knee tracking's good. You don't want any little zigzaggy movements with the legs. Come onto your toes, to the balls of the feet, breathing in to bend, out to press away. So it's good when you're instructing someone with this footwork to check from a few different angles. You want to watch for that alignment, that they're not, you know, the knees aren't moving in and out towards the midline. And you want to check from side on that they're not kind of tucking the pelvis as they bend. Go into the little V, inhale to bend. I just tell people, you know, it's okay to touch the springs because they're so stretched out, they're not going to pinch you. Normally we wouldn't encourage people to put their hands on the springs or put any part of their flesh on the springs because we worry that it's going to, if it contracts all the way back to its resting length, it could you know, trap their skin. But because these are always going to be on stretch, because you can't bend them all the way, you can't bend that far to, so that it's okay for their legs to press out into the springs. And you do want to check that their ribs are soft, they're in a nice neutral position. Sometimes for me, I put a little bit of a pillow here so I can relax my bottom part of my rib cage down. There's something about the head having, you know, the curve of my thoracic spine. When my head dips back, it sometimes flares my lower ribs. So that can be a quick fix. Heels onto the outside of the bar. And yeah, we're attempting to get the toes back onto the, what's it called? This part of the push through bar, the arm, the leg arm. For some people that are tight in their ankles, that's gonna, like me today, it's gonna really limit their range. So because my calves are quite tight today, it's not gonna let me bend very far. So I would just, for today, come off and yeah, inhale, bend, exhale, press away. But still dorsiflex, still kind of curl. Use the muscles in the front of the shin there, the tibialis anterior, use them to curl the feet back as you press the legs out. Okay, and then onto the toes. Again, we want external rotation, so let the knees go outside of the springs, if possible. If the person's further up the table, it's not going to be possible to go outside the springs. So just depends on how tight they are in the back of their legs, how far back this way they have to go to get their tailbone down neutral. Some people complain of like a flicking behind their knees. That often is just the hamstring flicking over the condyle of the femur. So you can try kind of externally rotating or internally rotating a bit more and see if that helps, but ultimately it's you know, as their hamstrings stretch out, it gets less and less. So into the calf raises, wrap all 10 toes around the bar. And yep, so you're watching the ankle alignment. Like for me, my left ankle sometimes wants to do that. So I'll always keep an eye on that. And then the prancing. Enjoy the stretch. I have had people kind of press down on the bar when I'm in the stretch. It's fine, but it's pretty agonizing. So I wouldn't do it to everyone. So yeah, sometimes the spring resistance is enough, you know, to get you into a bit of a stretch, and then you can kind of relax there. So for single leg, you guys obviously will do heels first. You can drop the spring down by one. Probably for most of you, you know, most people when they first do it, one spring the ankle, 2 springs. It's more of a challenge to your pelvic stability. So if at any point you see that their pelvis is kind of shift, what will happen is it'll roll towards the leg that's on the bar. So if I got my left leg up, my right hip will start to roll, lift towards the ceiling, and the whole pelvis will roll to the left. So it's the opposite oblique has to really work. And then the posterior chain through here, through that left leg. A lot of energy in this leg. I'm trying to press the back of my thigh down into the table. Yep. On the right side. It's hard to tell you what to correct because I can't see me, but that well. My right hip does want to hike a little. I'll try and do a few. So usually what you try and do is try to verbally cue someone to correct their form. And then you can do like a hands-on, kind of try to correct their form. if it's still not getting into the ideal position, then you might adjust them. So I probably would go through on this side a little bit more to ease off that tension in the back. And then I can get a better position for my pelvis. Like I said before, you start central, work peripheral. So it doesn't matter that my foot, knee was all aligned. If my hip is hiked up, I mean, it doesn't really, you know, it's still not the form we're looking for. Okay, and then the toes is the same. Keep your watch when people bend their knee, watch that they aren't collapsing through their ankle. You got to keep the tippy toe going. I'm just going to do 3 on each side because we've got the hip opener next. Yeah, so heels and toes. Often if you're going to do the hip opener, you'll leave out toes. So you just do heels, and then your toe single leg work will be the hip opener. So take one spring off for the hip opener. It's going to come and lay onto your side. Bottom arm's your pillow. Push the bar up. If people are tighter through their hips, often they'll need to lay further back on the table. Yeah, inhale to bend, exhale to extend. And it's the underneath side. You're checking the underneath side. You don't want, what you don't want is for, as you bend the knee, the whole, it's tricky for me to, the whole side to kind of collapse down. You want to keep kind of lifted through here and keep the hip stacked, keep length, like sometimes we chew, keep this hip, this top hip away from this armpit. So you're keeping the length on that side as you bend the knee. And it's, sometimes we just get the arm here and we use that to help guide the knee back behind the shoulder, because we're going for max, like external rotation as we're going into flexion. So are you saying something, Donna?
No,
okay.
I'm just preventing my cat from stepping on my keyboard.
Oh, does he want to say hello?
It's already flown across the desk and sent everything flying.
Oh, okay. Now, so hips are stacked. Yeah, and then you're trying to send that knee back behind the shoulder. So sometimes I'll use the arm to guide if I'm doing the self-practice. But I think textbook you're holding the pole or something. Anyway, in reality, you end up holding the front of the table mostly, just to help switch on your obliques, help keep the pelvis stacked. Good. Okay, so we'll do the bottom loaded roll up now. So for the bottom loaded roll up, head's on the extension pillow part of the table. Shoulders are on the actual table. Bar is above the belly button. And then you got to adjust it depending on how they look when they get to the top, because it's all about the top position. So same breathing as your normal roll up. So you inhale, you lift the head, exhale, you roll all the way up. In seated position. Is there a being straightened? I can't remember. And then exhale. I think there is a bend straighten, but I think I leave it out for some people because a lot of people, when they get up there, like that's, you know, that's their max, their max effort. So if someone is looks like they're really struggling and they're like straining to hold the bar, I'll just say, take a breath in and then down you go. You know, don't worry about the bend straighten at the top. Exhale, articulating through the spine. Inhale, hold it there. Exhale. But yeah, I think there is a bend straighten in the textbook version. Not so great for people with wrist problems. It's a lot of pressure through the wrist. definitely contraindicated for lumbar disc issues. You'll see a lot of shoulder hiking in this one. It's a lot of keeping the shoulders down is the key. Good. And then we're going to go into our tower. So slide down the table, arms are all the way straight, reach on the outside of the spring. I'm going to bring the feet onto the bar. Oh no, monkey, sorry, monkey. Apologies. Monkey first. So you'll be hands and feet on the bar. Exhale, you roll up, stretch your legs straight, bend, straighten, flex, point the toes, and then exhale, rolling it down. Want to get the position of the pelvis right. So when you're at the top, your legs are pretty vertical. Legs point, and then roll it down. This is not a favorite of mine, you may have guessed. A lot of times I'll put pillows here for people because hanging out like this, if you've got a bit of a dodgy neck, is not great. But this is preferable if you've got a dodgy neck, doing the monkey versus doing the old tower. Legs one, and then come down. If people can't get their legs all the way straight, then don't worry about the flex point. So you just go to kind of there, you breathe in, and then you go down. Because the flex point comes as an extension. Once you've got the knees all the way straight, then you add in the movement at the ankle. Okay, so we'll do tower prep and tower. So that will be arms straight, feet come onto the underside of the bar. Usually you have to assist someone into that one. So it's always pushing, never pulling with the arms. Have the thumbs around. Press energy into those upright poles, but draw the armpits down. So activate the lats, draw the armpits down towards the hips. Try and get your tailbone neutral to start. You know, it's not possible for everybody. Exhale, you're gonna scoop the tummy. Now, the bar goes up a little bit. So there's a little scoop, like you go up about maybe ½ an inch. Then the bar stays still and you bend the knees, roll the bottom towards the heels, breathe in here, and then breathing out to roll it down. One vertebra at a time, unfurl the spine. Once the legs go straight, then you can flex and point the toes. Exhale, scoop the tummy, sorry. Bar goes up a little bit and then you keep the bar there. Deepen the abs, inhale, hold. Keep the bar still in space as you roll down, straightening the legs all the way down, flex, point. Now for people that there's a lot of daylight here under their bum, I'll put like the wedge or I'll put an ad mat because I want them to be able to rest their tailbone down on something and have a moment of relaxation at the bottom. Yeah, so a little bit of a scoop to start and then keep the bar still, bend the knees. Lots of hamstrings working here and then controlling it down. Flex point. So we're going to the full tower. So again, always pushing, never pulling. Exhale, roll it up. Bend, straighten. It's not a huge bend, just a little bend, straighten, and then roll it down. It's a bit of a hamstring curl, if truth be told. Legs point, scoop the tummy, pressing the bar away. Really open up through the front of the hips here. Hamstrings active, 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 and straighten, and then rolling it down. And flex point. Just do one more. Tower. A lot of hamstrings, a lot of lower abdominals. Keeping those abs connected the whole time, just like within short spine. Even as you bend and straighten, you got to keep this tummy on, and then rolling it down. Good. Okay, so that's it for bottom loaded stuff. So we'll go into a bit of hip worky stuff after that. It's a terrible position to try and undo the spring. So when you're undoing the springs, just do it with 2 hands. Bend your knees, straighten the legs, take the pressure off, and then unclip it that way. Muscle it. So, yeah, let's do, how are we going for battery life here? I guess we'll never know. Oh no, it's all right. If I turn it that way, I can see. So, I'm gonna set up here for a bit of froggies and whatnot. And I'll just do purple strings, I think. So we'll do all the hip work series now. I might have to come this way, but Mr. Computer. Okay. Socks on. It's making riveting television, isn't it, really? Imagine if this was like your course. Like watching paint dry. So, I sometimes like to leave that rope in the middle, so I've got something to aim for. Anyway, here we go. I'm not going to do 10 of everything, but obviously in the studio, you know, we do 10 of everything. So froggies first. So you can press through the heel of the hand to help keep the tailbone down. Sometimes I give people sticky mats under their back if they're sliding a little bit, but we'll just see how this is. So you're gonna breathe out to press out and to come in, obviously checking for pelvic stability, lumbar pelvic stability as you're stretching the heels out. And I say to people the main difference with the Cadillac versus the Reformer is you're sliding your heels straight out. Rather on the Reformer, you kind of go out and a little bit up, whereas here it's more straight horizontal. Not necessarily going down. It's more like, imagine there's a bench top there and you slide your heels along the bench top and then controlling on the way back. Okay, and then you go into the circles. And so like 2 capital Ds back to back. Breathing out to press down. Inhale, coming up and around. And I think it's breath out to press down and open. And then inhale as you do the return journey. Good. Just split up a little bit. So you want to be at least an arm's distance from the end there. In the old days, they used to make people brace through the uprights. In the old days, I mean like classical. We don't tend to do that now, but you can, that's why I say it is an option to people. If they want to anchor their tailbone down, you can press lightly through those uprights. It's not necessarily cheating per se. And then you've got the walking and the bicycle. So you're back to parallel for the walking, and it's the one leg at a time moving. Up, 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's really emulating the stance phase of the walking, holding that one leg still as the other one kicks past, and then that one becomes the standing leg, that one kicks past. So it is really like training the muscles for that walking pattern. It's just a little bit of an unusual environment to practice that in. And you got your bicycle. So some people, when they first do the bicycle, it's a bit of a shit show. Like their pelvis is all over the place. Obviously, they can go lighter spring, or we can do, often I'll just do the single leg bicycle, which is in your single leg hip work series. So you do like the legs. So then there's got one thing to concentrate on. So just, yeah, think of that as an option, because the bicycle can be quite hard for people. They might be fine with one leg, and then the other leg just throws their pelvis off balance. Oh, it's been a while since I've done the bicycle. Good. And a lot of people don't like the springs hitting their legs. That's where the BASI trap table's better, because you can anchor the springs from the uprights, and then the springs don't hit their legs as much. They more just kind of brush past the shin. So that's your classic series. And then we've got a sideline series, I think, would be the next one. That's your basic leg series. Or single leg supine, and then single leg side. Okay. Oh, no magician? Oh, no magician. Okay. Let's do the single leg supine then. So if we've got the 1 foot in, what have I got there? It's a frog, circle up and down, hip extension, bicycle.
Yeah.
So is the frog parallel? Is it a parallel frog? I think it is.
Yeah. I did it in Turnout with Simone and yeah.
Sorry. Is this shout?
Yeah, it's straight.
Parallel? Okay. Yeah.
Parallel.
You guys are so quiet on my little phone microphone, but it's the only one I could figure out how to keep. So yeah, so parallel frog. This leg's meant to be kind of like active into the table. And then you've got keeping the legs straight, go circle up. So they always talk about the circles. It's the direction that you're going in the sagittal plane is how they talk about them. So because the legs going up through this, you know, this middle part, then it's an up circle. And then the circle down. Oh, hang on, did I mix that up?
No.
We usually go this way first, where you're coming up and around.
Circles down first and up.
Up and around, and then we usually go circle down is usually this way, sorry. Up through the middle, circle down and around. Unless we do down circles first up, I don't know. You guys have to check that in the manual, sorry. And then the bicycle, no, sorry, then the hip extension is just straight up and down. And then the bicycle. So it's quite a long series. And then, yeah, so it's all about keeping the pelvis steady and having control through the whole phase of the movement. Even getting little wobbles in the knee, and it's quite different doing it single leg versus doing it double leg. But it can be really good for patterning the movement. And as long as your pelvis isn't shifting, and then you're getting the alignment of the lower limb, so the knee, the foot, and the hip all kind of in alignment. You don't want the knee kind of creaking in or the foot turning out for no reason. As long as that alignment's being maintained, that's what you're looking for. So, parallel frog, just a bend and stretch, heel going straight out, horizontal, across that imaginary bench top. And then you got the circle. So coming down through the middle, rounding out, anchoring the opposite hip. For people that are really flexible, sometimes the fact that the spring is going off tension annoys them. And so I just let those, I guess, get the short yellow springs and let them do this series with the short yellow springs that we normally do our arm work with. I just put the foot loop and then reversing the foot loop on the arm springs. And then they get that feeling of kind of like more even spring tension, I guess, throughout more of the movement. Good, and then you got your hip extension, we just go down, and up, and then turning it into the bicycle. So about 5 reps of each movement, or else you'll be here forever. I'm gonna do like 3 so we can move on to the side lying series. Good. So with the side lying series, if it's sprung from the top, sorry, if I just show you the springs here. So if it's sprung from the outside, it's going to be harder than if it's sprung in that middle setting. Well, this is the middle setting versus one of those in between setting. On the BASI Cadillac, obviously you can just slide the little cuff wherever on the bar. So I'm going to do it here on the second rung in. If you do spring it to the middle here, the very middle, then you just have to make sure that when you swap, when the person rolls over and they swap legs, you actually swap the springs as well. So even though it's going to be anchored at the same place, you'd swap from using the left spring to the right spring when they're swapping from using their left to their right, so that the springs get even use. But I'm going to do it on the slightly wider than the midline setting for today. And yeah, I want to see how that goes. Not very well with this bloody tripod. All right. So, yeah, let's do this sideline series if I can remember it. So, bottom one's a pillow. I think in your guys' textbook, the lady's like holding on here, which is fine. So I would go one foot, the foot comes in front, lifts up, and then reaches behind. Keep this underneath side lifting. Keep the turnout as you all know, my turnout's rubbish. So when I get to, I'll show you, when I get to about here, that's about as much as I've got available. If I go all the way to the table, see how my pelvis kind of does this weird little shift? So I'm going to go all the way to the table, but probably what I should do is put like a little block or a little step there or something that I can push into without shifting like that. But we're going to fake it till we make it here today. And last one goes. And then you're going to bring the bottom leg up to touch the top leg. And you go into that scissor. And scissor. And I think, you know, Rayo sometimes does some nice movements like this in his mat classes. That's all patterning. So you'll find it's actually easier with the spring to go into that extension. So that it kind of helps you back into this part. Whereas when you've got your underneath leg going back, mine doesn't hardly go back at all. Good, and then you lower the bottom leg down and go into the rondejambe. Take a circle as you can. And at the top here, we kind of internally rotate the femur to get the stretch. And then when you come back through, that's when you externally rotate as your heels glide past each other. So when you come into this front position, get back into your external rotation here. Lift to the ceiling. Roll the thigh into internal rotation as you reach back behind you. And yeah, so yeah, hopefully you get the idea of that one. And then we do the reverse, stretch it back. So then internal rotation, but as I come up, I'm gonna roll to external rotation. And imagine that ball just rolling inside the hip socket. Lots of lower abs here, so as the leg goes back behind you, that's usually where people kind of let that go, and then you can see their back arching instead of their leg going into hip extension. It's fascinating watching actual ballerinas do this movement. You go on YouTube. They're freaks, man. Amazing. So it looks a lot more impressive than that, I can tell you. So, other side, just for the recap. Bottom arm stretched out as your pillow, hips are stacked. And make the little rainbow so the heel comes down, you're in turn out, and then reach that leg behind. Inhale up, exhale down. Good. And then we'll bring the other leg up and scissor, 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 scissor. And then big rondation. That rolling of the ball in the hip socket. Yeah, so there's not too many in this sideline series, but you got to do both sides, so that makes it take ages. So, that's your textbook version, and then often what I'll do as a beginner version to that one, obviously would be on a yellow spring, but I'll just show you. So often what we do for beginners, and I'll just show you on one side, is we would do like a lift and lower, just with the legs stacked. I would just go lift and lower, so they're getting this sense of, you know, balancing on their side, and just getting that lengthening, and then working the adductor to draw down, but working the underneath side the whole time. And then we go hold that leg there, bring this leg up to touch. So this is kind of prepping them for the old scissor action. Because holding that leg off and then kicking it, well, this one's kicking as well. That's quite, you know, it's quite challenging. And then I just do a kicking forward and a kicking back with a straight leg. And at this point is when I decide if the person needs to bend their underneath knee to help them balance, because that can give them a lot more range if they can have a bit more of a wider base of support, you know, because a straight body line is quite a narrow base of support. And then we turn it into a bit of a sideline bicycle. So this is great for people that need more hip extension, need a little quad stretch here, and need more mobility around their knee. All those sort of things. It's fantastic for all of that. And we can reverse the bicycle. So that's my little beginner sideline series. And you'll see it on like the beginner sheet in the Cadillac part. There's a sideline hip work, beginner sideline hip work series. And it's quite nice just to hold that stretch for the quad there. So, but you don't need to know that for your exam, but you will see it written on the new programs. Sorry if that confuses you. Hopefully not too bad. So we'll do the arm work now. Are we up? What are we up to?
Stretches.
Make sense, or am I just going too out of order?
Maybe stretch.
Yeah, I'll do the arm work before I do the shoulder stretch and the sitting forward and the side reach and all that kind of jazz, eh?
Yep.
Pusher group. Arm standing series. Oh, what's this? This is under arm work. Is this still under arm work for you guys? This
arm standing series?
Adduction single arm and shoulder adduction double arm. That shit? Is that all?
Yep, that's part of the push through group. And arm work.
Push through group, yeah. Shoulder adduction single arm, shoulder adduction double arm. Oh, sitting yeah, and forward, then side sitting, prep and side sitting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. They're pretty poor, but we can do them. Now, so shit, it's been ages since I've done shoulder adduction single arm and shoulder adduction double arm. Is that the one where you're sitting straddling the table? Like this? Is this
yeah, I don't know if it's called single arm anymore, but let me have a look.
Let me know if I'm barking up the wrong tree again. This is what I remember it being.
Yeah.
You face.
Shoulder reduction.
So you turn around.
So you break the swiping the elbows past the body and then controlling it up. So you're thinking shoulders down away from the ears. And don't want to get any, upper tracks happening. Maybe I'll just bring this forward a little bit.
We
so
face the other way. So you face like towards the bar.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Towards the bar and arms out straighter.
Hang on, here
elbows go out more.
No, I can. You go arms out more.
And face the bar.
What's going on with the sound?
I know.
Might also
be sounds like a robot.
Is that your microphone, Des?
Maybe yeah. I'm in headphones.
Oh. I see. Your headphones are a bit broken. Maybe. It's crazy. All right. So we're a bit more towards the bar, you're saying?
You turn around, you face the bar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you now. That's not how I teach it, but I'll get you. Oh, I can go up further this way. Can I go up further on this one? Nope, that's maximum. Okay, doke. I just need to put this up on a box or something. Must have something nearby. Oh, here we go. So that you can see my, so I'm gonna face the bar. All right. Here we go. Oh shit. The tripod literally can't fit on this little box I just grabbed. Oh yeah, that'll work, eh? Okie doke. So you're holding the side, is that what you're saying? Hold the side of the bar. I'm with you now. It's been so long. So it's quite lat heavy from memory. So you're gonna draw your shoulder blades down the back. And then you can bend the elbow a little bit. Because that would be adduction.
Yeah. It says bend arms, straighten arms, return to start.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just a bit of a scapular, one to set the scapula. And then the single arm, that must be sitting sideways.
We have sitting sideways as well, but the
single arm here.
It's also there. Oh yeah, it's sitting sideways, sorry. Yeah.
Is there one like this with the single arm, or am
I? No, sorry.
Sitting sideways, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so the one that I was showing you this way, that's what I call it elbow swipes. It's actually quite useful. But you get it because you get a bit more range. Yeah, so you can do that double arm or single arm. That tends to challenge people through more of the range where they lose it.
What do you call it? Sorry, elbow.
I just call it elbow swipes. But it's good. It's trying to accomplish the same goal. Yeah, it's trying to set the scapula, activate the lower trapezius and the lats, and resist. So as the arm, often as the arm comes up, that's when people will let go of all this stuff. So it's just trying to train them to keep that switched on as the arm goes up. So the shoulders going into flexion. You keep the scapular stability. Yeah, and this is quite a nice kind of postural one, you know, you're opening the chest, you feel the shoulder blades kind of squeeze together, and you keep that squeeze as the arms drift up. It's like you're resisting the spring a little bit. All right, so sitting. So we call that one shoulder something. Shoulder adduction, double arm, shoulder adduction, single arm. Would be, and then the side, so shoulder adduction, single arm would be just this one, I guess.
Yes, but arm on the top.
Hold on the top.
Oh no, I'm mixing that up. You're right.
And so then the side sitting, you go further away and you kind of press down, yeah?
Yeah.
What does say palm facing down? Oh yeah.
That's the, so shoulder adduction, single arm is palm facing up. So pulling down like that.
Yes, sorry, I keep getting confused between the two.
I'm just wondering if I should switch the camera to the other side so you can actually see my arm rather than just my head. Anyway, let's see if this makes better television. Not sure if it will. There we go. Hook that back like that. A lot of faffing around, isn't it? Sorry. The thing on there that holds the camera is a bit fun now. So side sitting, actually, because I really hate this one because I don't have very flexible shoulders. Yeah, so it's just that. And then I think you add in the side bend. No, I don't know. I don't know how it's meant to be for your textbook, guys. Sorry. I know when I teach in the studio, I sit closer. I get people to bring their arm down, and then they go into their side bend. They breathe in, and then they come back. So that's what we call side sitting, or side, yeah, side sitting 2, I think we call it. Side sitting 1 is with that we do with an underhand grip, reaching over like that. But anyway, you don't need to know that one for your exam. And your guys' side sitting is done with a straight arm. So the first one is just, Simone recommends just doing the arm action. Like if you were to practice, you could even practice at home. It says just do both. You kind of draw the shoulder in, and in and down, press the arm down, and then you kind of try to reach the scapula is meant to be able to stretch out from this midline on the down phase. For me, I can actually do it on this arm, but on this arm, because my shoulder's so tight, there's no, doesn't really move that way. Anyway, that's what you're trying to do. And then when you go into the side bend, I think the BASI version, side sitting 2, I think you kind of lift the hip up and do something weird like that, and then come back and restack or something. I don't know. Does someone want to talk me through it?
Yeah. So you start with.
I can hear you a bit better now because I turned you up. No take. Okay.
Adduct scapula on the inhale, and then adduct shoulder, abduct scapula, laterally flex trunk, reach arm overhead and lower trunk, supporting arm parallel to the mat, and then inhale to pause and then reverse the sequence. Yeah.
Well, that's not really written in a way that's easy to comprehend, is it?
No, but you were.
I know what you. I understand it, but far out. What a scientific way to write a movement. So yeah, so abduct scapula. That means you draw the scapula in towards your spine and towards your midline. Yeah. So you're going to use your rhomboids and your lower traps and your lats. And then that when they say abduct the arm, that means that's the pressing down phase. So that's how I was talking about the two, you know, how someone says draw the shoulder blade in, then press the arm down and let the shoulder blade kind of slide out from you, but with the keeping it depressed, keeping it down. So that's what they're talking about there. So abduct the scapula means draw the shoulder blade in towards your spine, then you press the bar down, that's the abduct the arm, so adduct the arm, sorry, drawing it. So from here to here, you are technically drawing it closer to your midline, but it's a bit of a stretch, language-wise. Anyway, they could just say press the bar down with your straight arm, and then you let the shoulder blade slide, slide out like we talked about. Then laterally flex the trunk. That's the side bend. And I guess you just have to allow that hip to lift up a little if you want to get this arm all the way parallel to the table. I tend to try to keep that hip down as much as possible. You might need to check with that Mrs. Simone what the deal is there, because I sometimes see her doing something kind of like that, which is like on a bit of a lean. Anyway, and then you'd reverse it or restack. I can face in this way so you can kind of see, but this is my tighter shoulder. This is that second part where the shoulder blades need to slide out, kind of doesn't really happen. You don't want to sit too close. So I'll probably sit a little bit close because it's kind of making my spine side shift this way to get the bar down. So I might have to go a bit further away. Then draw the shoulder blades in and down. Then press the bar down with a straight arm, and then you're going to let the shoulder blades slide out in your dreams, and then you flex over, and yeah, breathe into pause, breathe out, use this top oblique to come back, and then controlling it all the way up. So yeah, most of the time when people do it really shit, it's because they've sat too close to the bar. And it kind of makes them go, yeah, like pushes them off center. And then, yeah, so our studio version, I do let people sit a bit closer, and I let them bend their elbow. But apart from that, it's very similar. Because they just, yeah, but people just find it very difficult to achieve that movement with a straight arm, I find. But you still get all the same sort of, well, you're still focusing on all the same things within the exercise. It's just a bit more doable for regular folk. That version where you're able to bend the arm. Okay, so standing arm series. Oh, should I? I guess I should do it off the end of the trap table, eh?
Okay.
It's like a little treasure trove of springs under here. Here. Okie dokie. And this guy's gonna come, I guess, maybe here, maybe on the table. Is it gonna be too weird? Gonna see my. All right. chest expansion. Then is it hug a tree? Punching and salute, reverse bicep. What's the order? Oh, I can look on my sheet, sorry.
Chest expansion, biceps, circles, hug a tree, punches. I think.
Punches.
Yeah.
Okay. Punches, biceps at the end. Yeah. Okay. Show chest expand, and then obviously with the, oh, it's a bit weird. It's like I've got no legs because I'm blending into the stairwell. Bit more contrast. Fucking Zoom, man. This makes everyone look like goes so dark as soon as you move away from the computer. Okay, chest expansion. So you want the crossbar to be at your eye level, or the person's eye level. Yeah, so chest expansion. So as they press back, we talked about this on the reformer as well. So as you press back, you don't want shoulders going up. So you want to have a sense of scapula's drawing down the whole time. Control that connection. There we go. Hello. A little bit lower now. That's weird with it leaning off to one side. I've been fucking around with the things in an uneven way. Okay. Yeah, so you're going to press back. So you line up with the center line, press back, chest proud. Try to press back behind you, but without the shoulders coming forward. So you want that, yeah, chest expansion, obviously. Collarbone spreading apart, all those kind of cues, reaching energy down and out through the fingertips as you press back. What you want to watch for, is there a point where their lower traps and their lats just give up, you know? And so then you want to cue them just to, they've got to become aware of that and just go to that point before they give up. And I always saying things like, there's no relaxation phase. So you press back and then you control it back forward. It's not push back and then, oh, push back, oh. So, got to resist it. Then in the studio, we go into the triceps after that, which obviously isn't part of your BASI series, but it's just a bit of a forward trunk lean, and then you're hinging at the elbow. And then so after your chest expansion, you just go straight into your hugger tree. So you're gonna find your lean from your heel. So it's your whole body's on a lean. You can't really see my whole body, but you get the idea. So it's from your from your ankle to your head on a bit of a lean. And you want to keep that connection between your ribs and your hips. So what you will see people doing is kind of that. So you want to cue them out of that so that they're a straight body line from their heels to their head. Hands a little bit forward. So you're finding that scaption position for the arms, they're not behind. And then you're going to press from there. Inhale, open. There, close. The other thing you don't want to see is like people doing that, where they're like, you know, rocking into it each rep. So even though they're keeping nice and tight, they're kind of, moving in and out of the correct position. They want to stay safe, stay still in space, and their arms just move into the center and back out. Then you got your circles. Circle either way. And then go in the reverse. Watch for that, like the shoulders crunching up again. Watch for the ribs flaring. All that kind of stuff. You got the punching. Always looking for scapular stable position. And salute. Oh, sorry. Is there salute or is it just biceps?
Biceps. I haven't got salute.
No salute. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no salute.
You're a bit more upright with the biceps. You're not on the lane anymore. And then you just bend the elbow. Should feel like a nice chest stretch through the front of the shoulder there. Good, and then we just do the bicep squats. So you can do both, so you can do one, you can leave out the other bicep and just do these biceps. You can just do the reverse biceps and then do squats with the TRX or something like that if you need to build someone up to being able to do these. So it's, oh, sorry, how's it in your textbook? Because, okay, I'll show you the way I do it. So arms are straight, and then as you squat down, you bend the elbows, and then you straighten back up. Let's make it so we can still see what's going on. That's the white background. Yeah, so you'll come down, elbows up, chest proud, tummy on, press through the heels, stand up. You're looking to see if they're shifting their weight, left or right. The knee should track over the second toe, so I'm going into turn out. I have seen, like in the old days when we did bicep squats, we had to find right angles at the hips and the knees. And the shot, you know, is all 90 degrees, which is great if you want to get really good at sitting in a chair. It's not very functional for doing an actual squat with actual load. But, and I wonder if in your textbook, I think I've read something where it's like, they want you to bend the arms first and then squat down. And maybe do like 5 of those, is it? And then straighten or something? I don't know, correct me. I'm a bit rusty on the old terminology in the book.
And then with our one, you obviously had your feet quite wide and in turnout. Just out what ours is, it doesn't specify, I don't think. Yeah.
Hard to say. It's, I just model it on like a actual squat. Like if you were to get a barbell and chuck some weight on it, like what position are you going to be able to lift that shit off the ground and then squat with it? So, I mean, I think in Pilates, there's been a bit of a bias towards working in less turnout because there's so many dancers that do Pilates and they hang out in too much turnout.
Yeah.
And so often they will have this bias to like encouraging people, you know, in the course and stuff, they'll say, don't, you know, not too much of a turnout position. But the reality is most people are pretty shit at turnout.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're not a ballerina, you probably do need to increase your turnout. But yeah, if you're working with a ballerina, you might get them to squat and parallel because they might be really strong and short through their external rotators. And so if you let them lock into that position, they're not going to get as much benefit as if they come out of that position a little bit and then do like hip flexion and extension and, you know, strengthen their muscles in a bit more of a lengthened position rather than all the way short, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's that genetic hip shape thing again. Like some people, there's lots of YouTube videos online of how you can diagnose it. So some people have got crap internal rotation, some people have got crap external rotation. And so the people with crap external rotation, sometimes they can squat deeper with a more parallel stance. And then sometimes the people with the you know, that have better external rotation in the flexion range, if you try to make them squat in parallel, they'll kind of hit a barrier at about, you know, 90 degrees, that their actual femur will hit the edge of their, what's it called? The socket will hit the edge of the, fuck, why am I playing? No, the hip socket, whatever that's called, acetabulum. My God, it's happened. My brain's turned to mush. Yeah, so in the studio, I get people to bicep curl as they squat. I just think it's a nice kind of, then it becomes like a full body integration exercise. But I think in your textbook, you might be asked to maintain the bicep curl and do your squats. And I think you've got to be open to kind of playing around with the hip position, whatever's going to be best for the person. It's all about the muscle recruitment, yeah? Are they feeling glutes and hamstrings engaging? Or is it all quad? So it should be a bit of glute and hamstring on the down and the up, yeah? Eccentric control on the way down, concentric on the way up. That's it for arm work. Standing series. The punching, I don't know if you saw too much of the punching, but you got the posterior view. But
shoulder push forward.
It's pretty boring. The stupid name, we've talked about that in the past, I'm sure.
Yes.
It's you're gonna punch someone. You don't do it like that. Anyway. No. Not if you're from West Auckland, anyway. But we'll do butterfly while we're here, eh?
Well, good idea.
I'll bring you around. That person will be like, sweet, I got the chick that can't fight. It's all good. Now, why won't you stay that way? So butterfly. Well, we do quite like a butterfly here. I just put that back one off the thing like that. That might be all right. Is it too far away? Come hither. Oh yeah, we'll get the hang. That'll be fine. Okay, so butterfly. Same standing position as with your rest of your arm work series. So you're on that forward lean. Scaption with the hand position. Gonna side bend, keeping so the arms are kind of straight out from the shoulders, but then a little bit forward, like about 15 degrees forward of your body line. Laterally flex the trunk, so you side bend, and then you're going to turn this hand that's lowered, that's close to the ground, you're going to turn that behind, the other way, so because it's going to press behind. And then this hand's going to come forward and over, like toward, like on a oblique kind of angle, pushing up that way. And so the idea is that it's taking this rib towards this hip. So it's an oblique, becomes an oblique kind of lateral flexion exercise. The hips are going to stay squared off to the front. I know Rael says, oh, they have to move a little bit. But I think if you are thinking they have to stay still, then you'll do it better.
Yeah.
And if you allow, if you know that there's an allowance for that. Because yes, it will move, the hip pelvis will move like a millimeter or so, but if you're fighting it, if you're thinking, draw this, so I'm twisting towards the right, so I'm thinking right hip going forward, I'm thinking left ribs coming towards right hip, pressing back with that. The right hand's actually not doing too much. The left hand's doing more, and it's that I'm flexing through my trunk, through my upper body, and trying to stabilize the pelvis and deepen the lower abs and flex the lower back. Side bend. Exhale, pressing forward and up and lengthening out. And coming back through. So, see, I've lost my connection with it. Side bend. And then rotate. And forward. And coming back through here. So, I don't know what else to say with that one. Where people go wrong is they kind of let their butt go if you have like a floppy butt and you let your hips bend, then you're not really going to feel it much. It's going to feel a bit like nothing. It kind of still looks like the real deal, but where you get the work is by stabilizing, you know, from the pelvis down. You could do this with arm weights at home, you know, actually practice the movement. Still get the bend, you know, still get it's stabilizing all this as your rib cage and your trunk is moving and rotating. That's, you know, it's that opposition of forces that creates the feeling of the abs working. If you're letting the hips and the pelvis shift around, you're not going to feel the abs working as strongly. Yeah. So that's the moral of that story. Next, we'll come and do all the top-loaded bar stuff, I guess. So like the shoulder stretch and the... should I pause it here or do we want to just keep going as one video? It's a lot of material to review in one setting, but I guess you can just pause it. So shoulders, oh, where was it? Prone 1 and 2, hang, oh yes, we'll do prone 1 and 2. We'll finish with the hanging back, I think it's logical. So shoulder stretch, sitting forward, side reach saw, thigh stretch, kneeling cat stretch, sitting back. Okay, so let me do the thigh stretch real quick, because that's with the roll up bar, and then everything else is with the push through bar. Or maybe I'll just do it at the end. Okay, I'll just do it at the end. So here we are for your push through bar stuff. I'll just switch this around to face the other way. And it angles up a little bit. That's better. Okay.
My camera died there.
So push through series, feet up against the uprights. Socks off so you can see my feet.
Regroup.
Obviously, people, you can sit them up in a little box if they need. If their hamstrings are a bit tight, they want to be able to sit up nice and tall in a neutral position here when they are seated. If they need to bend their knees, that's fine. Even if they're in a little box, sometimes people do need to bend their knees. Just to get right up on the sit. We don't want to be in this flex position at the start. And then you're going to hang back off the bar with straight arms. Really tuck the tailbone under here so you feel your lower abs working already. And you're going to press the bar down. So that's lats and abs. Press the bar through. You're sitting forward. Breathe in, go to a flat back. So the shoulder blades kind of draw together here, lengthening out through the crown of the head, long neck, and then scoop the toe. Now, I cue that people, that flat back that they found, they've got to keep that connection between the shoulder blades as they roll back now. So the lower abs draw in, you're rounding the lower back, slide the tailbone under, find that, that curve in the spine, but we don't let the upper back round. We keep the connection in between the shoulders. And then inhale, sit up nice and tall. Nice neutral spine through here. Exhale, coming back. Find the flexion. So really activate the lower. I let people slide their butt underneath and get a connection down the back of the legs towards the, bring the sit bones towards the back of the knees. And then it's pressing down with the arms, using the abdominals. Arms and abs push through. Breathe in, find that length in the spine. So you're stretching out, shoulders down. And now keep the connection between the shoulder blades as you round. This is where people kind of do this. They round back. So you don't want to allow them to do that. cue, like tactile cue them here to keep that connection between the shoulders. And then you scoop the abs to round it back. And how to come. If someone's really struggling with that, straight arm version, I let them do like the spine stretch on the mat, breathe in, and then restack the spine, then the arms go up. But obviously it's not in your force, but it's like you're bringing the mat work, you know, spine stretch. You're bringing it into your onto the track table and just adding in a little bit of resistance, spring resistance to help them feel their tummy working. And then it helps them kind of they're kind of resisting the spring as they restack, and they get a sense of the spine stacking up one at a time. Because some people find this straight arm stuff really hard, like they don't have the strength in here to do that push without the shoulder kind of shooting up to the ear. Anyway, you'll see it 100 times. And then you'll think, oh, you can do that other thing. In preparation for doing this version, you can do that other one. So then you go into the side stretch. So it's inhale, reach the arm around, exhale, coming back. Inhale, reach the other arm. Exhale, coming back. You could lift up in between. Obviously here at the studio, I like to join the push through, the side reach and the saw all together. And then the saw, I think when you practice it on its own, I think it's weird. I think you go back and then you take the hand off and then you rotate and lift up or something. It's just strange the way it's written. And I just remember thinking, I'm never going to teach it that way. It just makes it just really disjointed and strange from memory, from what's written in the book. It's like, go into lumbar flexion, take one arm off and rotate towards opposite side, or I don't know, it's real wordy and
yeah, it's not very elegant.
But yeah, the way I like to teach it is I like to teach them all together. So you go all the way through. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, rounding it back. Reach one arm to the side. On the inhale, on the exhale, float that arm up. Come across, little finger to little toe. Back to the bar. Do it all again. Exhale through. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, scoop the tummy, coming back into that curve. So you really got to be connected here with the tailbone slid under. Reach the arm away. And then watch that off that foot of the hand that you take away. It'll often want to lift away from the pole. So you always cue and keep contact there. And then coming around, little finger to opposite little toe. And then, because I'm quite stiff through my low back, hips, thoracic, you name it. What I like to do sometimes to get a bit of stretch is just come and grab the pole and then give myself a little twist here. You also got to watch this top shoulder. So some people kind of internally rotate when they're here. So you got to think external rotation, drawing the shoulder. So pushing the bar up, but I'm drawing the shoulder down. Yeah, you'll see the people that are doing it wrong, or doing, it's not they're doing it right. They haven't learned how to do it correctly. They've got their form hasn't been trained yet. Oh God, that feels good. So do we want to review the wording on the saw, or are you guys okay to just review that in your own time?
We can review it.
You want to read it out to me?
It is so robotic in our course form.
Yeah. Oh, I just turned right.
Especially the hand back, because once you have it off, and then you just sit up, and then you're just supposed to circle it back around.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other ones are flowy and they look elegant.
Yeah, I think that's why I just, and the principles of Pilates, it's all about efficiency and flowing movement And then they, you know, and then you come across this beautiful series that they've broken up into chunks and made it like a robot. It's like, how's that harking back to the principles? Anyway, that's a philosophical discussion. So we'll do sitting forward, shoulder. We'll do shoulders. Sitting forward. Should we do sitting back?
Yes.
Okay, so we're sitting back. We're like here. The palms are facing down. I've rolled my hand so it's that way. You don't want to do it. I mean, you can do it that way. I think textbook is this way.
Yeah. Oh.
And I know when I first did it, they were like, oh, try it this way because they thought it would be nicer and like if you're getting a lot of neural tension. And for me, it didn't make a difference. It sucked either way. So yes, you're going to breathe out, scoop your tummy in, roll back off the sit bones, push back into the shoulder stretch. My shoulders aren't very flexible, so they do tend to kind of want to slide up by my ears, but I'm trying to keep them down. Breathe in there. So you're breathing into the front of your shoulder here. Try to stretch your pecs a little bit. And then scoop the tummy, bring your head towards your knees, push the bar up. And then you bring the bar down and you'll restack. So if we recap the breathing, so it's breathe out, breathe in here, breathe out to go forward, breathe in to push up, out to come down with the arms, and you breathe in and you restack. And you'll reset. Exhale, inhale for the stretch here. Exhale, coming through. And push the bar up as much as you can. Coming back through. And reset. Okay. It still sucks a bit, that one for me. My elbows really feel it.
Horrible.
It's good for them though, but it's not. Oh. Like most things in Pilates. So kneeling. Oh, so shoulder. Is that the other one we've got here? Shoulder stretch. Like
oh yeah, prone shoulder stretch.
Oh, this is in the stretches category, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm jumping around a
That's
little bit.
okay.
So you would rock. So I just kind of reach up and grab the edge of the bar. Is the best way to get into it for me. And then I lay all the way on the opposite side of the table because I'm not that flexy in my shoulders. So you're gonna roll the head of the, I'll try and get my head out of the way. Try and roll the head of the humerus down towards the table. And then you roll it out. So you go into external rotation as the bar lifts the arm up. It's quite nice on the thoracic as well. You get a little bit of rotation through the thoracic. Roll it down. And if I was doing hands-on, I would kind of, I'd grab the upper part of the arm and roll and add, accentuate the rolling action that the arm's doing. So I'd be doing, just making that a little bit more pronounced. And at this top part, I'd be adding a little bit of stretch to the pec, grabbing around the front of the humerus here, the head of the humerus, and pulling up. Gently. Okay, so that was my tight shoulder. I don't know if my right shoulder is that much looser. Probably not. Oh, God. Actually, no. So rolling it out. Oh, golly gosh. It's just a world of hurt. And then, so flexible people quite like these ones. They feel nice.
Oh, yeah.
This is making me want to cry. It's like laughing and crying. Oh, something's clicking. That's probably.
Do you remember when you assisted Shelley with my shoulder and I was literally, most of my body was off the front of the Cadillac on the extended box?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
You're
definitely
going to start somewhere, right? I think that my shoulder, it's neural tension for me, eh? I'm quite tight through my nerves in my arms. I think it's from doing a lot of swinging on bars when I was younger. That's made everything quite, short.
Yeah.
So
grabby.
I did it. Yeah, I'm pretty strong in this position, but out here I'm just, I'm in agony. So that's a great one to talk with. I will, if you ever want to practice that one, my tight shoulders always need it. I think we're going to go into the kneeling cat now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this side, and then the side lift is the other one that we use the top loaded push through bar for.
Oh, yeah.
The kneeling cat. You can put your feet under that little strap there for the kneeling cat if you need a bit more assistance. I'm not going to bother. Now you don't want to be too close to the bar with this one because it's just hard when you're coming back up. So get a little bit of space between you and the. So there's a slight softness in my elbows though to start with, and so you press the bar down to straight, and then once the bar is straight, then you can nod the chin to the throat, roll down through your spine. So, and then at the bottom here, you're going to lengthen out to a bit of a shoulder stretch, kind of straight body line. Ears between the arms, so try not to hang your head down too much. And then you scoop the tummy, round it up. Sit bones going towards the back of the knees. Abs, abs, abs. Restack and control the bar up. So it's a little bit more possible to keep the thighs vertical here for me than it is on the wonder chair. So and you can have 2 springs, 1 spring, 2 springs, whatever. 2 springs will help you come back a little bit more, but it'll be harder to push down. I think we generally say 2 springs is more helpful. It's easier than 1 spring. My rib, if I drop down too much, see how my ribs flare? So you're watching for that. You want to keep the connection through the front body. And a lot of hamstrings here, a lot of abs, and rounding it. But see how my shoulders wanted to do that just then? You go slide the shoulders down. Yes, there's all at different points in that movement, you've got different things to cue. So you just got to keep an eye out for basically everybody does all those little movement faults. So you just kind of pick the top 3 things to correct for someone, and then just keep cueing those, because there is such a thing as information overload. Like if you give someone 7 things to work on during the course of an exercise, they're just going to forget all of them. But if you give them like, okay, so this part, think about shoulders down. This part, think about tucking your tail more hamstrings. This part, think about, as you come up, think about the shoulders staying down again. Then that's kind of doable. It's like that's enough information to digest. Yes, so the side lift. And then we'll go into the prone. 1 and 2. Then I'll do the thigh stretch. Okay, so side lift. Your feet are through the little strappy thing. Gonna lay down here. Now I need to be down a little bit more because at this point your arm should be vertical, straight up from your shoulder. But for me, because when the bar comes down, it goes a little bit further away. So I need to push the strap down a smidge and get set up a little bit further down. So that's a good start position. And then I bring the bar through. I've got the thumb around the bar, so yeah, that's a bit more safe. And then here, you'll just check to see if there's space between the ear and the shoulder. Take the bar back through, and then you're gonna breathe out and come up. Inhale down. Exhale, bend. Inhale, coming through. Breathing out to come up. Inhale down. Coming back through. So there's a lot of kind of, as you come up, this is like a lot of shoulder work here. If people don't have the strength in their shoulder, they'll get like into a bit of a funky position. It'll kind of go up this way. See, if they don't have that kind of the lats and the lower traps able to draw the arm down. Yeah, that's the side lift. Obviously the obliques are working, shortening here, and then as they're lengthening on the way back down. Let's try the other side. So this is different to the ladder barrel in that the top leg goes forward, whereas in the ladder barrel, the inside, you know, the bottom leg goes forward. Exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower, exhale, exhale, inhale. Hips are stacked. He's working, pelvic floor is working. Now there is there's a preparation. This one which we sometimes do with the roll-up bar. I'll just show you guys because not everyone can do that overhead arm stuff. Sometimes it's a bit hard. But yeah, if you have the roll-up bar hooked on, your feet. So instead of being under the strap, your feet will be up against the poles. So we go back to like the ladder barrel type foot position. And so the top foot's back, the bottom foot's forward, hips are stacked, and then you just lift up. Ooh, maybe I need a bit more spring. With some help from the bar. You're lifting. So it's with the feet, it's like you're pushing opposite ways. So this front foot kind of is pushing up, and the back foot's kind of pushing down to activate your adductors, and then you're lifting through the side like that. There's a version of it on the Avalon as well, but I prefer it here. And you're just trying to keep that arm glued to your side. You can put sticky mats around the poles. So this would just be called side lift with the roll-up bar. And yeah, you got to keep the hips and stack them to each other and just activate into that waist. Yeah, so give that one a try one day. It's a nice variation on your side lift with the pusher bar or tower bar as it used to be. Okay, so your thigh stretch. Exhale, you're going to press a little bit into the bar and posteriorly tilt. So this is me trying to posteriorly tilt. It kind of looks like I get to neutral and then stop. So then you'll go back. Breathe in, pause. Breathe out to lift up. And inhale, release. So exhale, scoop and posteriorly tilt. And lean back. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out. Squeeze the glutes and hammies to come back up. And then release. So, any questions on that one? The old thigh stretch kneeling. Is that okay? Oh, which way am I going? That way more. I find it quite tough, that one. Thigh stretch kneeling. I don't know about you guys.
I don't like it. Not my fave.
Like, get me to posterior tilt, it's like, a bit of a dream. I think that's the correct breathing. Sometimes I get mixed up with the breathing. So they can't call me. That's always what happens when someone tries to call me. Oh, no, low battery mode. So we just got the prone 1 and 2 and the hanging back, I think, yeah. And we're all done. Okay, so 1 spring on the top for prone 1 and 2. And I always tell people, you know, as I hand in the bar, I'm saying, just be careful, whatever you do, don't let go. Have your thumb around for safety. Yeah, I'm like a broken record with that one. So I just say to them, if they need to let go, just tell me and I'll come and grab the bar. I just remind them that if they let go, it can swing back this way and smash their teeth out. So you can inhale and come up. Your prone 1, exhale, reach it down. And then, you know, for some people, this is quite a challenging position to be in, just laying with the arms stretched up overhead. So we do a few variations. We just have a pole here sometimes, like a dowel. You can roll the pole along the table, or the actual foam roller is nice as well. As you come into your extension, you're cueing to externally rotate the arm, and that helps to get that the lower traps kicking in, the lats kicking in, the rotator cuff creates space around the acromioclavicular joint, so you're not getting that impingement pain that some people get in that overhead position. And then obviously you're cueing the thoracic extension. You don't want them to push so hard on the bar that they actually round their back. Obviously that's not achieving the goal. You want them to think about bending back through their upper back and going into extension in the upper thoracic region. So prone 2, you'll bend the arms. Where everyone goes wrong with this one is they do some weird thing where they flare their elbows like that. You're going to drop the elbows down and think of externally rotating again. So rolling the upper arm out, then the actual shoulder socket. And then you're pressing up, still rolling out with the upper arm. And then as you come down, you bend the arms and then press it away. So the bar comes behind your head on prone 2. Prone 3, you bring the bar down in front of your face. Oh, prone 3 is not in your core, so don't worry about that. So you take the bar behind the head. Remember, don't flare the elbows. Roll the upper arm out, or roll the upper arm. How would I describe that? So the humerus is going to externally rotate. So you're rolling the back edge of your armpit to the front edge, and then you're going to press the bar up, looking straight forward, glutes on, tummy on. As you bend, you're going to look down and then reach the bar away. Inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. It's actually quite a nice ab stretch, that one for me at the top. Oh, and it's nice to do the shoulder stretch as well. So you go here, press up, and then you can hang the head down. Get that shoulder stretch. No prone 3 today. That's not going to be good. So hanging back, you can either do in the trapeze or in the fuzzies. So I think in your guys' book it's got in the trapeze, eh? Yeah. So we'll do the trapeze. Wait. Slide that out. Too easy. Slide this back a smidge so you can actually see the canopy here. And here's my trapeze. It is cool. So I'm going to step into the trapeze part, not the fuzzy sling. holding on to the grippy mats here. I can't see the grippy mats. See one. Sorry. Just do that. That's better, right?
Beautiful.
Okay. I should be a cameraman. I shouldn't be the model. I'm better behind the scenes again. All right, so we go.
Me too.
One leg in and then go straight arms. And then other leg in. Hanging down. And then you'll scoop the tummy and roll it up into your kind of upside down plank position. And then it's an inhale to arch the upper back. Exhale back to flat. And then inhale, you hinge down. So a lot of people kind of roll down, but we roll up and then inhale, hanging back to the plank and then hinge down. And make sure you flex the feet and turn the toes out so that you're getting that extra, like they're hooked into the so that they're hooked into the trapeze here. Might be able to get a better view of what the feet are up to from here, maybe. And what I've found, obviously don't cue this initially for people because usually you want them to hang on quite well, but if you actually loosen your grip as you go back into your extension, you get a better connection with your thoracic extensors. So that's a lift. Try. So you're exhaling, rolling up, and then, so this part, just soften the grip and just arch more. Coming back, and hinging down. Such a great exercise. I actually probably teach this earlier on than some other places, but I just think that this active, even just the act of hanging activates all your lats, all your lower track. It just, they can't help it. They switch on, you know? Mm. And so if you're a person that's a bit necky, then it's a nice place to do back extension because you actually feel the muscles working that are meant to be working.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll just check the cheat sheet, but I think we've done everything. Did I miss anything out? Cat stretch, sitting back. So squats, butterfly, side lift, and yeah. Oh, good. Cool. So I'll just going to leave the meeting on this one. Unmute myself and turn the volume. All right. Cool. All right. So that's all done. Awesome. Well, I told you we whizzed through this one because I actually know it. I'll stop the recording now.